Hi guys, so today I'm doing the controversial parenting tag. And just a disclaimer, this is supposed to be controversial. These are really sensitive subjects, and this is just my personal opinion on them. I do not generally judge others for the parenting decisions that they make, but these are just my opinions. So the first one is pro-life versus pro-choice. Um, I am kind of a little bit of both because I am very pro-choice. I think that it should be an option. I think that some people are not capable of giving a child up for adoption, and they are also not capable of being parents. Um, there have been so many cases, and just recently, of younger people having kids and either neglecting them or abusing them, and it happens all the time. And um, I think that it's good to have that option because I feel like it's better to end a pregnancy than to bring a child into the world and possibly have them suffer terribly until their death. Um, I'm also kind of pro-life in that I don't agree with late-term abortion. It does not sit well with me that people can have an abortion after you can potentially feel the baby move. I started feeling the baby move this week at 14 weeks, and I just, yeah, after the first trimester, I really don't think that it should be legal. Baby wearing. I'm not sure how this is controversial. I love baby wearing. Um, Maybe they're talking about like crotch dangling carriers. I have a baby ergo. We have a sling and we have a Moby wrap. Um, I they're all very ergonomic and safe. So when I do see a parent not using that, I'm one of those like nosy people, I guess, who comment on it and or like hopefully suggest a good carrier. And every single time that I see like somebody new on my Facebook feed that's pregnant, or a pregnant person in public for starting a conversation or something, I try to recommend the baby ergo as or like a sling as an alternative to something like a baby Bjorn. Um, Circumcision. It's funny because I just recently changed my mind about this. So I always had kind of believed in circumcision because my brother's son was not circumcised, and then when he was around 3 or 4, he developed a severe infection, and he like could have had to have gotten his whole penis amputated, or at least like the top part, but thankfully they just did a circumcision. But he was so old that he remembered all of it, and I like don't like the idea of that happening to my kid. But the more that I've been researching it, it seems really, really unnecessary in most cases. Um, and I don't like the idea of risking like a serious injury or death for no apparent reason. Um, so for me, and I know that it's going to be like a fight with my husband because we talked about when Ari was pregnant, if it were a boy, they would be circumcised. But now that I know what I know, and I'm going to share with him what I know once we find out what we're having, um, I am against it. Adoption. I love adoption. I love people who adopt babies, and I love people who give babies up for adoption. I think it is like people who adopt children, it's just an amazing capacity for love and acceptance that you have, and I admire that so much. And people who give babies up for adoption, you are amazing. Like the amount of like self-sacrifice in that act is just incredible, and thank you. Um, Baby piercing. I am against baby piercing. I feel like they're perfect the way they are when they come out. So I don't see the need to like accessorize a baby. Um, I don't like that. I don't like that they don't have a choice on whether or not their ears are pierced. Um, when Arya gets to be around 13, 14, like most kids usually do, I'm sure she's gonna want to have her ears pierced, but I mean, I'm not absolutely sure, so I didn't want to like impose that on her, and yeah, I just don't really agree with it. Breast milk versus formula. Breastfeeding is amazing. I'm a huge breastfeeding advocate. I will talk to anybody and everybody about breastfeeding and like breastfeeding in public and everything. I'm just so pro breastfeeding, and I've tried to help out everybody that I can who I know has like had a newborn. Offered to, even because this was so helpful for me when I had a newborn, my chiropractor offered to like literally come to my house and help me work on latching with my baby. And that was just so amazing, and it was so comforting to know that I had somebody there for that. So I give the same offer to everybody I know, even if I don't know them that well, when they're having babies, because I really think that breast milk is the best choice. I really think that a lot of people don't know how formula is not bad. Formula saves babies' lives. Formula is amazing, but it's not as good as breast milk. And breast milk's better. Formula is not going to give your kid immunities. It's not going to. Nursing is a huge comfort, and that experience, I encourage it just like even for a selfish reason, because everything that I felt about breastfeeding is just so amazing that I want everyone to have that. I have a really hard time understanding moms who give birth and like do whatever they can to drive their milk supply and don't even try. Um, I don't agree with that. I think that that's really, I think it's selfish. Sorry if that's offensive, but I think that it's very selfish to not even try. Spanking. I am against spanking. We follow a lot of attachment parenting stuff, and I have studied psychology, specifically child development, for a really long time, and I don't agree with it. I think that kids learn how to behave towards others by how others behave towards treat them and how people treat each other. So I think that spanking a child is really counterproductive, because to me what you're teaching that child is that when somebody does something bad, they deserve to feel physical pain. And I don't agree with that at all. Co-sleeping. I love co-sleeping. And it's so funny because before Arya was around 6 weeks old, I was terrified and very, like, unsure about co-sleeping. Like, oh, it's cool that you people do that, but I would never do that because it's going to kill my baby and it's going to ruin my relationship and my sex life. But come to find out, none of that's true. So for 6 weeks, my daughter pretty much couldn't sleep more than 6 hours in a day. And I couldn't sleep more than like two, maybe three. I was going through postpartum depression. Everything was really sucky. I was exhausted all the time. And then somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks, Aria fell asleep on my chest, and I fell asleep too. And I woke up and was like, oh, is she alive? She was still alive. And when she sleeps, we use the SNUZA, which I'll put a link below to where you can buy it on Amazon. It's like one of my favorite baby products ever. I should actually do a review on it. I think I'm going to do a review on it. So it's a breathing monitor that straps to her diaper, so that made me feel a whole lot more comfortable about co-sleeping too. And it just seemed like the natural thing for us to do. And soon, like after I started doing it, I looked up some more information about it, and I found out like all the amazing things about co-sleeping. And I had a friend that I was talking to about it the whole time that made me feel so much more comfortable with it, and like I wasn't some like freak hippie for co-sleeping with my kid. So I'm very pro co-sleeping, and it's really driving me nuts because the state that I'm in is like running a smear campaign for all co-sleeping, and I really wish instead they were running like commercials about how to co-sleep safely, or how about promoting breastfeeding or something else that like takes the SIDS risk down. Schooling. I think that whatever somebody chooses for their kid is amazing, and whatever you can do for your kid is amazing. We're going to public school because for me, it's about like being around diverse situations, and we're not really super religious or anything, so we don't want her to go to Catholic school or anything like that. Vaccinations. We vaccinated Aria. Not exactly according to schedule. I did not give her any vaccinations while she was in the hospital. And we started getting our first vaccinations at 2 months, but we do not do more than 2 or 3 vaccinations per visit. We do not do, even if she's teething, like she has to be in absolutely perfect health for her to get her vaccinations. I think that's really important. I I mean, it's what I chose to do. Um, I don't I don't, it's what you choose to do with your kid. Like, it doesn't bother me if you choose to not vaccinate your kid, and it doesn't bother me if you choose to vaccinate your kid in a traditional way. We've done like a delayed vaccination schedule, but, yeah, I mean, either way, I'm totally okay with it. I hate the, like, terrible thing in the mom. This is crappy about a lot of community forums for moms, is the vaccination thing, because people are so crazy about it. They are willing to like call somebody else like an idiot for believing another way, which is so many different things. But vaccinations, I've noticed that especially, where it's like, hey, you're dumb, you haven't done your research, and it's like, hey, no, you're dumb, you haven't done any of your research, and you're endangering my kid, no, you're endangering mine, and it's just like crazy. And I really, like, it is a big deal, and you should do your research on it. I totally agree with that, but I don't really see how what you do with your kid affects me or my kid. Medicating children. I think that when there is something seriously wrong with your child, you should probably medicate them. I have a friend who had, my daughter had reflux. I had a friend who had a daughter who also seemed to have reflux. She refused to medicate her, and as a result, they could only breastfeed for 6 months, because of the lack of her being able to really breastfeed without like throwing up and all these crazy things. And formula feeding after that didn't really help, but her milk supply dried up from all like the poor latch and stuff like that. We decided to do Zantac, and it was really low dose, and we did it for about 6 to 9 months, and we got to breastfeed until 15 months. Now those are two like really anecdotal examples, but in my opinion, if a kid needs medicine, give him some stinking medicine. Like, what, you're just not gonna to treat a child? You don't want, like, I just don't freaking get it. I don't get it. And especially with like the reflux. It's terrible to hear that your kid has reflux. And I was so scared of it. And when I found out that I had to medicate her, I was like devastated and cried for like days. And now I'm so thankful that we did it, because if we hadn't have, like, who knows, like, there are possible side effects for medicating children. There are also possible side effects for not medicating them. So weigh your pros against your cons and figure out what's best for you and your family. Cloth versus disposable. I love cloth diapering. I am obsessed with cloth diapering. It's another thing that, like, as soon as I find out somebody's pregnant, I'm like, hey, here's all the most amazing things about cloth diapering and how awesome it has worked for my family and why you should do it too. I am, I just am in love with it. I hate using disposables, and we haven't thankfully used them that much. And they caused Ari to get rashes. Like, there's nothing about disposables that I like. And cloth diapering is just so amazing. I don't know why everybody doesn't at least try it. I mean, even if you're just doing it for like purely selfish reasons, you're gonna save money. Unless you're like one of those crazy people who spends like $2,000 on like having a bajillion different cloth diapers and like every pattern ever, which is really fun for like the first 2 months, like the patterns and stuff like that. And then after about 2-3 months of diapering, you're kind of like, I don't give a shit. Just give me, pardon my French, just give me a freaking diaper that works and doesn't leak. So I love it, and I recommend it to everybody. I kind of get irritated when people like refuse to even consider it. So that's my opinion on that. Cry it out, baby wise. Ugh. Those are some buzzwords. I don't like it. Traditional methods. Um, when Arya was around 4 to 6 months, I think 6 months, she stopped liking to co-sleep with us. She hated like being close to us while she was trying to sleep. We were just getting in her way. So we moved her to the crib, and we let her fuss for a couple minutes. But I think that there's a huge difference between letting a child fuss and letting a child cry themselves to sleep. I just don't agree with it. And when you like read some of the literature on, I think it's in Baby Wise that they like warn you, oh, your baby might cry so much that they throw up all over themselves. But don't worry, just clean the baby off and then put them back into the crib to cry some more. It just seems sick to me. It's not something that I can do. It's not something that I can feel good about. I value sleep a lot, but I don't value it that much. There have been 2 times in Arya's 16 months of life where we have actually let her cry herself to sleep. And in those 2 instances, we had tried everything in the entire world to get this kid to sleep, and nothing was working. And we're talking hours. So at that point, there's really nothing you can do except for let them kind of tucker themselves out, because they're like irrational and hysterical and just so worked up. So at that point, we did do cry it out. But we were in the room. So we turned the lights off, and she saw me still in the room, and I sat in the chair next to the crib. Maybe she wouldn't have taken as long if I wasn't in the room. I don't know. But I do not like the idea of her feeling completely emotionally abandoned. And I have trouble sleeping, and sometimes I ask my husband to like rub my head to relax me when I'm really stressed out to fall asleep. And if I need those things, how can I expect my child not to? My mother-in-law kind of drives me nuts with this, because she's always like, they shouldn't be waking up in the night at this age, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you probably don't think that maybe I should be waking up in the night at this age. But I wake up frequently in the night, and sometimes it's really hard for me to fall back asleep. But I figure it out. But, I'm friggin' like 25. So, and I still haven't gotten it completely figured out. So I can't really expect Arya to do that. That's just how I think about it. Anyways, that is all of my opinions on these things. I would love if you did this tag as well and did maybe a reply video in the comments below so I can check yours out. I'm going to include the list of all of the controversial topics that I went over in the description box, and make sure to like this video while you're here if you like it. If you hate it, that's okay too. It's your opinion. But if you like it and you want to see more tag videos or more mommy, baby, pregnancy related videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date on everything that I'm doing. Thank you guys for watching, and have a wonderful night. Bye!